Best Cineworld secret screening ever? So Green Book is directed by Peter Farrelly and stars Viggo Mortensen as Tony Lip, who is a driver who is then recruited to travel and transport a certain Doc, Shirley, around the Deep South, played by Mahershala Ali, in order to complete a concert tour or live performance tour where he's having to deal with a lot of racism and a lot of other type of themes going on that were very prevalent in the Deep South during the early to late 60s. Now, I went to one of Cineworld's secret unlimited screenings to watch this film, and I could not have asked for a better choice. I've been so excited about Green Book. I've been following it all throughout the festival circuits. I've been waiting for this movie to come out. This movie doesn't actually come out until February the 1st here in the UK. So there was no way, I didn't even consider, going into this secret screening, and I was thinking about what films this could be. I was thinking it could be maybe The Old Man and the Gun, or Sorry to Bother You, something like that. Green Book didn't even come into my consideration. I was like, it's in February, no way is that going to be the choice. But when I saw the words Green Book came up, I literally stood up and clapped because I was so excited to see the words Green Book come up. And honestly, and I know I've said this a few times in these reviews if you've been watching these reviews, but this is my favourite movie of the year. First off, Viggo Mortensen as Tony Lip is so likeable in this movie. He's just so funny and charismatic and is just able to deliver a lot of funny lines. He's a very personable character, and I think he's really able to deliver that to the audience. And I just thought his character was not only hilarious, but also very realised and very much in his own time. He's very much from his own place. He's from deep in the Bronx, he's from New York, and very much, obviously, the way he speaks, the way he acts, his dialect, it's very, very much stereotypical New York. And I've seen a lot of people, say that it is playing on stereotypes. However, I actually want to disagree with that because I actually feel like there are a lot of people who are from New York who I've seen talk about this movie and say that no, I mean, this is how a lot of people do actually talk from New York. So I feel like from their perspective, this is a very good representation of a New Yorkian person, and I think that this is a great representation of that. And just the character of Tony Lip I just found to be so enjoyable and just a very likable and fun character to watch on screen. Now, Mahershala Ali is just a powerhouse of an actor. I loved him in Luke Cage Season 1, I loved him in Moonlight, but seeing him here, this has got to be my favourite performance from him. He's just got such this presence to him. He's very upper class, he's very almost uptight, but I really just love the way his character evolves, and just seeing his performance and how he's just on polar opposite to Tony Lip as a character. It's very entertaining to watch, and the two of them together is a whole different story. Their relationship and the way it evolves, their arc in this movie is really awesome because, like I say, they end up pretty much, or they start off on two completely opposite ends of the spectrum. One's on completely one end, the other's on the other. And the way that they are able to actually come together and really build a really strong bond and a really strong friendship is really well realised and really well written in this movie. And I think the script really does a good job to emphasise that, because one is from completely one side of the world and one sort of side of society, and the other is from a completely other part of the world. And what I loved in this movie is how you get to see how they're beginning to embrace each other's cultures, and they're able to change and evolve into better people by being a part of each other's lives. And you're getting to see that very well realized here in this movie. Like there's a specific scene, there's a couple of different scenes where you get to see how Tony's character is beginning to become a bit more literate and a bit more well spoken, and then you get to see how Mahershala Ali's character is actually becoming a bit more experimental in terms of how he lives his life. And I just think it's a really beautifully told story in that way. Now, like I say, the whole story of this is transporting Mahershala Ali's character around the Deep South in the late 60s, when of course there is a lot of racism going around, and this movie does deal with a lot of racist themes and also sexual themes in this movie too. In terms of the racism, I've seen a lot of people say it's sugar-coated. I don't think it necessarily is. I think that this movie does deal with it very much up front. But what I liked about this movie is that this movie is a feel-good movie. It's very much a film that is supposed to have you smiling. It's a movie that's supposed to have you laughing. And if it's going to bog down the movie with really serious racial tones, it's not going to be able to have that sort of tone. And I feel like given what this movie was going for, I think it approached the racial aspect in the completely right way. I think that this movie does deal with it in a lot more of a positive outline, and not in the way that it's a good thing, because obviously it isn't. But what I mean by that is, sometimes it'll be played off a bit more in a comedic sense, which I think fits the tone of this movie perfectly, and it deals with it in a real way too, because if everything is really dark and serious all the time, it's just going to become really boring, and it's just not how human beings actually typically are. So I think that this movie actually deals with racism and also sexuality in a very real way. And like I mentioned as well, this movie's hilarious. The comedy in this movie, I was laughing out loud so many times, especially a particular scene to do with Kentucky Fried Chicken. I was really laughing in this movie. There's just so many good lines, really good one-liners. Tony Lip is pretty much a one-liner character, and he just gets to give off all these great quips every now and then, which is really funny. And like I say, this movie just had my entire auditorium absolutely rolling with laughter, and I really think I had a great audience with this movie, because the audience really helped to emphasize this film, and laughing with them always helps in that kind of situation. And I just thought the comedy was really funny. It was my type of comedy, and it just really had me going. And the music in this movie is euphoric. The music in this is just stunning. I mean, you have Mahershala Ali's Doc Shirley, who is very much a classical pianist, but you also get to see a lot more classic rock and roll from the 60s era, a little bit of Motown coming in, which of course I love. So you get a lot of those sort of tones and those kind of vibes coming in with the music presented in this film, and it is beautiful. Especially there's a scene in a black bar towards the end of the film, and it is just, the music going on in there was just outstanding, and it's one of my favourite scenes in the movie. I think that this whole film has music seeded throughout the entire thing. Like, there's loads and loads of music pieces in this, and I love that. Overall, I think Green Book is a beautiful movie. Dare I say, masterpiece of a film. I think the Green Book is a very much different kind of film that it's going to tackle these kind of issues, like I mentioned earlier, but in a way that hasn't really been tackled in film. It, again, tackles them in a bit more of a positive way, in the way that it doesn't go into it with all these negative connotations. It doesn't go into it, you know, trying to make the audience feel bad about everything that's going on in the movie and make you feel bad for the characters. Instead, what it's doing is it's showing that actually humans can actually have a positive outlook on these things. They can actually have a positive outlook, and they can come out from it feeling positive. Mahershala Ali's character goes through so much in this movie and suffers so much racial slur going on in this film, but the way he's able to shake it off and actually show the fact that, you know, he doesn't care what people think of him. Instead, he's just going to show them what he can do and what he's able to do. And that's what I mean by that in terms of a positive outlet. He takes that hate and turns it into a positive energy. And that positive energy is what runs throughout the veins of this movie and what makes it so enjoyable. Like I say, I think this movie is absolutely outstanding. Peter Farrelly did an absolutely masterful job directing this film. The script is so well handled to make these characters feel so real, and these particular characters, the way they grow and develop, is so well realized in this movie. Green Book, in my opinion, is a masterpiece. I love this movie. I can't wait to watch it again. I think it's such a great film. I had such a good time with it, and you most certainly will too. So did you guys see Green Book? If you did, make sure you tell me all your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? I really hope you didn't. But if you did, make sure you let me know all your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, if you want to see more movie reviews from me, be sure to subscribe. And I hope to see you guys again in my next video.